Enigma of the Full Moon and Crisis, January 25th to 29th, 2021. On a personal level, we need to focus on our eyesight, heart, ankles, and sides of the body. Pace yourself and step back if needed. Protect your heart is what I'm trying to say, because you don't want a heart attack. So don't exhaust yourself and avoid burnouts. Nothing happens and nothing will come of it was the prediction for January 20, 2021. Pelosi made a swift move to bring the military under control. She was in a no way out situation where she had no choice but to quickly impeach an ex-president. Trump was about to pardon Julian Assange, and quick impeachment was necessary to prevent Trump from doing exactly that, free Assange. What are they afraid of? I think finance played a big role. Money. It was about money. Read my comments about Pelosi's situation. What happened? These are just my I have strange doubts about some of the deaths that occurred since then. Sheldon Adelson of Las Vegas Sands, the biggest donor and supporter of the Republican Party, died. And Adelson was going to put a large casino in Japan, but pulled out at the last minute, which was kind of favorable for the Japanese people who didn't want a casino. Then Donald Tober of Sugar Foods, known for sugar, sweet and low, jumps to his death. What's strange about his death is that he was 89 years old, and it was a suicide. Benjamin Rothschild, the famous Rothschild bankers, also jumped to his death at the age of 57. And 34-year-old Chinese socialite Lily Lo, who rubbed shoulders with Hillary Clinton, jumps to her death naked with her 5-month-old daughter. You could hear about, and now she was a daughter of, let's say, a very high Communist Party official. Now you could hear about the death of famous persons from the sports, entertainment, or gaming industries. The CCP, or the Chinese Communist Party, placed sanctions on 28 former Trump officials. What for? Well, it's weird because they are no longer in power, but I guess that's what they had to do. And I was watching Maria Bartiromo, and she said that Peter Navarro was sanctioned, but not Wilbur Ross and Jared Kushner. Why? That too is strange. Well, Wilbur Ross worked for the Rothschilds, and I think French President Emmanuel Macron also worked for the Rothschilds. But this whole thing is an enigma. Maybe in 2025 we'll find out. Dems control both houses, and they will be going through jury selection in Congress starting January 25th, which is tomorrow. Expect a major crisis coming up. This crisis will involve money, Treasury, the congressional budget, pension, Fed, and the dollar. Americans are in a state of crisis, just as last year when money or liquidity was necessary. Are they running out of money? Unemployment high and money to run the government may have to come from thin air, like shaking a wand to make it rain. Some businesses may be thinking that the crisis is over because the new administration has been inaugurated. It's just beginning. This is what I call faith, because we have no control of it. Why impeach a president who has left office? Well, Chuck Schumer stated the Biden agenda is as follows. Number one, the priority is to impeach Trump. Really? Number 2 is to defeat the pandemic. And number 3 is to organize the administration or put the officials in place or to carry out their job. The number 1 priority is Trump, or should I say more Trump. This is kind of odd, but it's a fateful event. Trump was born to be very famous because he's going to be very famous with all this attention, spotlight on him. His 2020 chart was not good, and I've said that over and over again. However, his 2021 solar return chart is spectacular. 2021 will be a great year for Trump. His birthday is June 14th. Follow the unfolding. All this is happening because the planets are forming a stellium in Aquarius. Every turn has an unexpected event. Friends become enemies, and enemies can become friends. Think different, said the Apple founder Steve Jobs. Think different. This administration is going to be an ethereal. Have you ever watched the Japanese snow theater? It's ghostly, heavenly, and maybe of another world. That's the feel that you get. And listen to the music. There's something unreal and not earthly. This theater was popular in the 12th century when spirits were flying around. Get the picture? Maybe this is the prelude to the machines takeover, when machines take over the national management or managing the nation. The government now has an AI department. Machines will run this country. If you go back and listen to the USA 2022 new old jobs, I mentioned that the president is not going to be in the public. I knew that didn't sound like Trump. Trump had to be out in the open. That's just his nature. There will be information on news that will also disrupt the government that is full of separated parts, and that's the best way I can describe this one. As mentioned in the past video, there's a crisis at the border as well. There's a lot of news that rattle the government concerning trade, immigration law, trading partners, and our enemies. Well, law, yes, because we have the impeachment going on, and they're totally distracted, I think. This is that Aquarius moment, rebellion and revolutions. Look what is happening in Russia. Alexei Navalny called on his people to speak out to the Kremlin, and he returned to Russia knowing he could be arrested. He must have known, right? And here you see his wife, I think her name is Lulia, and his followers want her to run against Putin in Alexei's place if he is imprisoned or detained for a long period. I've been talking about bullish and bearish market trends. That's what I did for last week. But I just realized that the traders are long and short simultaneously. What is that? This looks like they're doing spreads. The market is in the options and options on futures. So if you go back to the USA 2022 new old jobs, I mentioned commodities. The futures traders do spreads. That doesn't mean that the stock options traders can't do that. They can do that too. But what I'm trying to say is that this looks like options. The market is focused on options. So, like they buy August and sell April, or vice versa, or just they're trying to cap their risk exposure. Mercury is about to go retrograde, and the mind isn't in sync with everything. So that's why trade cautiously. The reason traders are doing spreads and options is because of the volatility. We're going into a heck of a volatile environment. Let's go back to last year's prediction, USA 2021. I named the semiconductor, metals, and energy. The new administration is focused on EVs. He wants zero emission, carbon free. The US is again entering or re-entering the Paris Accord. No fracking and no XL pipeline are on the agenda. Demand for semiconductors is high and car makers are worried about zero emission. Chips are at the heart of everything, and Taiwan now is controlling the chip industry. Intel, America's pride and joy, is now about to be erased. The former CEO was a Trump supporter. News about sports and entertainment could also be disturbing. Again, gold is featured as well as brokerages. Think in terms of options and spreads. Although bull spread is likely, there will be buying on dips. Technology, autos, aerospace, batteries, and cryptocurrencies are favored. Gaming companies will also be on the upside, but the smart traders are going to take the profits. So if it moves up, they're going to get out and wait or get into some other things. If you like this type of information, please follow, like, and subscribe. Thank you for